So this is the big news right now. Microsoft is to acquire Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. That is just an insane amount of money to buy like some gaming properties. So what this means, and Blizzard, by the way, owns Hearthstone, which is one of Magic the Gathering's competitors. So now Hasbro is not competing with Blizzard anymore. They're competing with Super Big Daddy Microsoft. And you better believe Microsoft's pockets are really deep. Satya Nadella, I believe is that the CEO of Microsoft right now? Really low-key CEO, keeps really quiet. Will play a key role in the development of metaverse platforms. Interesting. Microsoft is acquiring Activision, the troubled publisher of Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Diablo. The deal will value Activision at $68.7 billion, far in excess of the $26 billion Microsoft paid to acquire LinkedIn in 2016. It's Microsoft's biggest push into gaming. I would have figured like the Xbox was a pretty big push into gaming, and also they like bought Minecraft for some stupid amount of money. And the company says it will be the third largest gaming company by revenue behind Tencent and Sony once the deal closes. Microsoft plans to add many Activision games to Xbox Game Pass once the deal closes with the acquisition of Activision. Microsoft will soon publish franchises like Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, Call of Duty, and Candy Crush. Upon close, we will offer as many Activision Blizzard games as we can with Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass, both new titles and games from Activision Blizzard's incredible catalog, says Microsoft CEO of Gaming Phil Spencer. We're deeply invested in the world, blah, 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 blah. Gaming is great, all that other stuff. No mention of Hearthstone. Maybe Hearthstone is too niche of a game to mention in this report. Microsoft doesn't detail exactly how it will approach solving issues. What's going on here? Microsoft's deal comes after months of harassment claims against Blizzard. Oh yeah, that's true. Not a good look for Blizzard. Now Blizzard under new management. They got sued. Employees have come forward with more allegations. Since then, the company reached an $18 million settlement with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Good God. All right, so Microsoft doesn't know exactly how they're going to approach solving these issues, and the company says Bobby Kotick will continue to serve as CEO of Activision Blizzard for now. Blizzard also fired 37 employees today too. Is that right? All right, you're out of here. We got a new boss now. Boss don't like you. Anyway, Microsoft now expects the Activision Blizzard's deal to close in fiscal year 2023, which means we might not see this deal approved for up to 18 months. That's a long period of time for a deal to close, but Activision Blizzard operates in a number of markets which could make regulatory approval more complicated for Microsoft. Interesting stuff. Does this mean anything to anybody? I don't know, that's a pretty big deal. Microsoft making a big move to own maybe one day Microsoft will say, do you know what? We're gonna buy Hasbro. How would we feel about that? Magic the Gathering going back to the Xbox, because Magic the Gathering has been on the Xbox before. We've been there. We could end up going back to the Xbox. I don't know if it'd be a good or bad thing. Hopefully Call of Duty won't suck anymore. Isn't it like the same thing over and over and over again? Anyway, that's some news for it's not Magic news, but you know what? It'd be really lame to talk about some lame Magic news instead of some really hot gaming news. Anyway, good morning everyone. This is Nikachu for Coffee and MTG. You are here on the morning show where we talk Magic and also we drink coffee. And you know, you can drink whatever you want. For some people it's like 9 p.m. so grab whatever floats your boat. But this morning show does have sponsors. So popular that it's attracted FusionGamingOnline.com. The deal of the week this week, 15% off. Get 15% off all Crimson Vow singles and sealed product. We're talking Commander Packs, draft boosters, and also, you know, just the full set. You get, not the full set, sorry, booster boxes. You can get 15% off Crimson Vow at FusionGamingOnline.com, or get some of those cute little Commander singles. Get those alternate Count Dracula aesthetic cards. Sweet stuff. But don't forget, if you do buy from Fusion Gaming Online, don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout for an additional 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. And basically your best way to play test so many different decks in whatever format you're playing in. If you don't know the difference between one deck and another, rent both of them. See which one's the best and play that one for your event with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or use coupon code Nikachu_ZKL for 15% off your first 2 months. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Good morning, George, Casper, Davey. Good morning. Good morning, Bedtime Bomb, Daniel, Bronze, Trevor, Mikey J, Jason, Charlie, Andrew, James, TCG Dude. Spread the love and be kind. Steven, Gold Medals. Good morning, Casper. If something got banned from Hammer Time, what would it be? I believe the hammer has to go because the deck still has other equipments, and that choice would be less detrimental to the archetype. The easiest ban to keep it alive would be Urza Saga, but they would, of course, replace Urza Saga with, like... They'd actually have to replace 8 cards, because they have to replace Urza Saga and some other card for Steel Shaper's Gift. Not that everyone played that card, but that would probably be the easiest ban without banning the whole deck. And it's not clear to me that you'd completely ban the whole deck if you ban the hammer, but it would be so much weaker if you force them to play with Nettle Cyst and Cranial Plating. But, yeah, there's not a lot of room. Or you ban Stoneforge Mystic? I don't know. I don't know. Because apparently the deck did exist prior to Stoneforge Mystic, but that's not a fair card to ban just for one archetype. A lot of decks play Stoneforge Mystic. Good morning, Ryan. Znex Shiel. Good morning, Charlie. Lumberjacks. LK. Norman. Deadly Feet. Kylie. Good morning. Good morning, Christian. Jiao. Anyway, you guys know the deal. 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question. Helps me find your questions amongst all the comments. Ryan, is Enchantress a viable deck? I'm thinking about making a... well, no. It's not, actually. It's an unplayable deck at the moment. It was sort of cute in the beginning, but now it has very harsh competition. Very, very harsh competition in this modern metagame. It's too clunky. That's like the main problem. It's way, way, way too clunky of a deck. It needs, I don't know, better defenses or something. But it's the test. The time has, it did not stand the test of time. There were decks, they did try, but they didn't work out. So I wouldn't say that it is a viable deck. I mean, you can make it for fun. There's enough pieces that you can play it casually, and you can get some game. You can win some games with it. But it looks like it's still very far off from being like a competitive tier deck. It's missing something big. Good morning, Cody, Pietro, Tommy, Trent. Xbox Smash coming? Maybe. Maybe they'll finally make Diablo 4. Do we need one? Norman says, one question is, who is Microsoft trying to compete with through this acquisition? Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google? Probably Sony and Tencent. Like, they're just trying and like get ahead, even further ahead of Nintendo. Like, they made a big move to get into gaming, and why not? You know, like, most people play games on Windows, so they should appease to their gaming fam. And I guess that's why they made Xbox. Like, I don't know. It was really weird the day that they made the Xbox. It's like, out of nowhere, we're making games now. We were a software company for the longest time for boring businesses, and now we're making games. So, like, why did they need to do that? They decide, hey, gaming is the future. People play games recreationally. And they were dead right. They invested in young people a long time. They rightfully assumed that the youth of yesterday would still be playing games as adults today. And I think it's paid off big time for Microsoft. Same thing with their acquisition of Minecraft. Gaming is a big part of our lives. Why are you guys here? So if you have a good relationship with... you can develop a really good lifelong relationship with people. Just like I have with Nintendo. A lot of you are going to say, screw Nintendo, then you're going to go with Xbox. Well, that's why Microsoft went in that direction. So they're just trying to further their hold on the gaming industry. They think gaming is a big part of their business. Charlie said, I sold all my consoles last year and went all in on tabletop with Warhammer and Magic. Good luck with that. I have to say, I haven't been much of a console gamer until recently. Now I'm starting to play, like, on the Switch again. Only 2 games, though. Mario Kart and Mario Maker. The return to Xbox. Minecraft's famous acquisitions the last few years have all panned out fine, in my opinion, although they weren't into gaming. I don't know much about it, to be honest. I'm not really a big Minecraft... I mean, I should say, I don't know anything about Minecraft except one of the most popular influencers is a cheater. That's all I know. But all the respect to him being such a good YouTuber. Dream. That's all I know. That's all I know about Minecraft. It's probably how I learned a lot about Minecraft. Dreams just started showing up on my subscription, or not my subscription feed, just my YouTube feed. I found myself in a modern rut. Best way to get out of it, play another deck. Just try something else. Just, you know, just have some fun. Just play something for fun, and even if you lose, you don't care, because it's just for fun. Brew something up of your own. Just try to win some random game with this deck. But try something else. And then when you're done, you know, BSing around, go back to playing seriously. Unless you, by default, just BS around. Maybe you should take it seriously for once. Cigardaze would be a better ban? That might not be... That makes it, like, almost impossible to pull off. Like, it makes Hammer useless. I mean, I guess you still have the Pure Steel Paladin, but it's such crap. I mean, I guess that's a good ban too. Gaslight Nikachu by asking the same exact questions in sequence every day. What day is this? Is this Deja Vu? Lumberjacks, what do you think about the new glimpse of Tomorrow deck with Karn? Is it time to bring more hate for Cascade decks since they are getting problematic? I mean, it depends. If you're a counterspell deck like Merfolk, you really don't care because the counterspells hit all Cascade spells. But yeah, it could be a sign that we got to go to start looking at Void Mirror and stuff like that. Void Mirror, but I think there's still quite a bit of Void Mirror in people's sideboards anyway. Microsoft said they don't consider Sony or Nintendo competition, probably because they don't. But where would they say they don't consider Sony competition? That doesn't make much sense. I mean, remember, Microsoft is a big company, so they can live without having to compete with other gamers. Look, I mean, okay, I don't know what they mean by that, but it could mean like, hey, we've got our own ecosystem, we have our own loyal fans. They're not going to dump us for Sony or Nintendo. Just like I don't dump Nintendo for Sony or Microsoft. So it's like they don't compete. It's more like, can you keep growing your fan base before they even become a gamer? Can you turn them into customers before they choose something? Any chance of having Baleful Strix legal in Modern? I don't understand why Icefang Quaddle is legal and Baleful Strix is not. Well, you don't have to work at all to get the Death Touch on Baleful Strix. So, I think the fact that we have Icefang Quaddle means that we're not going to get Baleful Strix. It's just not happening. Albert, what do you think are a Vile deck's most needed skills and tools? Patience. I think some patience, but definitely some patience and some good mulligan decisions. Because the less cards you have in your hand as you mulligan, the less valuable Vile gets, because it's just not even a land, and you're just better off playing land drops, and you'll quickly get your creatures out faster that way. But on the other hand, you need... I would say one of the larger mistakes I see with people is that they want to get their creature out immediately, when really one of the valuable things about Vile is you're always keeping it up. You're always keeping it up. You could have anything. You could have a Lord. You could have an interactive spell. keep your opponent on their tippy toes. But if you vial in on combat on your turn, then on your opponent's next turn, they have perfect information. Whereas if you have it untapped, you still could have anything, and you're less vulnerable to board wipes. Microsoft was anticipating a possible future where consoles replaced home PCs. Xbox was to address this? Were they? That's a pretty bold prediction. Was anticipating a possible future? Maybe that was a world. That's a crazy world, though. Mac users might never see Blizzard games again. I doubt it. They'll let stuff. I mean, anything that's available for download. There might be some other way of interacting with it, like you get like an Xbox Live account, that you could, like an Xbox subscription service or something. I don't know. Because like they don't want. It's like, how do I put it? There are a lot of games that they don't want to restrict it to one platform. They have no problem making money off of all the platforms. But we'll see. We'll see. Blizzard fans are still jaded because the guy in charge is still in place. The problem is essentially still there. We'll see what happens. Microsoft might clean house. Vegan Economist, when people ask, is X deck playable in Modern, can we answer in terms of more or less playable than Merfolk? Yeah, Merfolk could be the bar. Merfolk is basically at this point like one of those decks that, you know, it's playable. Oh, I mean, it still shows that it can be competitive. I mean, just mere months ago, Tulio was killing it in the leagues, got second place in a super qualifier. So Merfolk still has that same position as it always has, that it's a playable deck, but depending how you build it and how well you know the deck, it can be competitive, or it's just like, you know, durdling around in the leagues. So it always has its moments. Like, that's one thing that, like, Merfolk has that a lot of archetypes do not. You know, like, Enchantress is not, like, once in a while making top 8s in events and then killing it in the leagues. Sorry to the Enchantress fam out there, sorry. Kylie, hey Nikachu, what do you think of Spellspreader Sprite in the current meta? Seems good against some of the most popular cards like Ragavan, Dragon Rage Channeler, Unholy Heat, and Hammer. Think it's in bad shape. I think Spellspreader Sprite is in really bad shape. One of the biggest problems is, like, what deck do you put this in? It's like, it's okay. It's okay. But remember, it's got this thing that says when Spellstarter Sprite enters the battlefield, counter target spell with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of fairies you control. So let's say on turn 2, because you have two mana up. So they have to have 2 mana, at least 2 mana. So they play Dragon Rage Channeler. You play Spellstarter Sprite to try to counter it. In response, with their other land, they play Unholy Heat on Spellstarter Sprite. Nothing happened. Nothing happens. Because you don't have any fairies in play. So the clunk of Spellstarter Sprite and the sheer amount of very cheap removal is going to make it very hard for you to pull this thing off. It's going to be very hard. Maybe not impossible, but very, very hard. Any thoughts on 8 Rack with Urza Saga? Have you played against it? I have not. I think this is a great idea. I should build a deck. I'm going to put 8 Rack here. I think Rakdos 8 Rack, big potential. Big potential in that Rakdos 8 Rack. Fantastic idea. No one's built it correctly yet. I don't know if I would be the right person to build it correctly either, but it's I think it is a sleeping idea in the metagame. Can we make Mardu humans viable? Not that I know of. Direwolf went to this first 1K since 2019. Oof, it's been a while. This weekend and got 15th. Not great, but had fun in this meta. It's fun. Its meta is Modern Horizons 2. Oh yeah, so Modern Horizons 2, the meta. What would cause you to stop main decking Vile? No counterspells in the format, and a lot of Thoughtseize decks. That could make me stop playing Vile. There's a world where this exists. They see... What article did you read, KebbyG? They only see Amazon as a competition for future gaming? That makes no sense. Is Amazon in gaming, period? Oh yeah, of course. Well, they have Twitch. They probably own some gaming properties, but like, I don't know what they have. Whatever it is, it's got to be small. Paul says, you was right. Tough for Snoop Goblins in Modern. I'm set on brewing a Goblin deck, but I'm having trouble deciding on a good start. Go for value. Go for, like, any Goblins, like, Goblin enters the battlefield, make a Goblin. Go for, like, Goblin whenever it dies, it, you know, make a Goblin or something like that. I think try to fill the deck with as many Goblins that create more Goblins afterwards so that you can overload all the removal in the format. Go for value, not for quick instant kills. Any Call of Duty fans out there? It looks like you guys are like really passionate about Call of Duty. Hopefully, likely not, since Microsoft owns Activision, we will get less buggy, less broken Call of Duty games. I thought Call of Duty, like, games these days are falling down this Call of Duty route where they're like sort of guiding you through the game like a movie. Maybe it's good in some respects, like, but it's boring in others for me. Like the good old days where you just wander around endlessly and you don't know where you're going. Carl on duty. What do merfolk and spirits do better / worse than each other? Looking to get back into Magic with a tribal tempo deck. Spirits are way more interactive. They have way better interaction to protect themselves and defend themselves against opponents. Like Mausoleum Wanderer and Spell Queller are really good counter spells. And also things like Drog Skull Captain and what's it called? Drog Skull Captain protects the team, and also Selfless Spirit protects the team. Now the difference is that Merfolk is a little bit more chunky, so they do a little bit better on different types of removal, like they're better positioned versus a Plague Engineer. But also, I think that they have just a better clock. They have more lords, like infinitely more lords, so they have a better opportunity to race if it is a pure race. But I mean, on the other hand, Spirits has like just basically free. They have flying, so it's a very useful by default form of evasion. But then Merfolk has literally unblockable if they have Island Walk online. We need a new Banjo-Kazooie that goes back to its roots. We need Rare to go back to Nintendo, in my opinion. I think it was the greatest catastrophe of gaming that Rare got bought by Microsoft, and it was crap. They did nothing. They made garbage games from there on out. You guys told me, like, the original developers at Rare have now moved on from Rare to elsewhere, but I don't see them making good stuff. I don't know if they're making good stuff for Nintendo or other people. I've seen Mono Blue Spirits in Pioneer. It plays a lot like early Modern Merfolk, in your opinion? I have not tried it, though. The only good thing Call of Duty was hype zombie game modes. All right. I did the sponsors, Matt Wazix. You want to hear them again? You want to hear all about Fusion Gaming Online and Mana Traders? Aztec Guy, can we talk about how Sony and Spider-Man 3 killed Microsoft's push for HD DVD? That was brutal, and I was old enough to watch it happen. I have no idea. I don't even know what this is. Can we talk about how Sony, the PlayStation 3, and Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire? I don't know anything about this. Never heard of it. Something died in my sleep. LK suggesting a 12 rack Smallpox Lily. Jeez, I hate the idea of the deck. Yeah, 8 Rakdos. Oh, I love that. That's a great name. Charlie and Spectre with these hot names. What is your feeling on that blue-red Lutri list that went 15-0? Nothing. Whatever. Let's see it in a actual tournament. Wait, isn't that a bunch of leagues? Or did that win like a big tournament? Rudy, hey Fish Fam, new to Pauper. Is it usual for big results of challengers to be like, yeah, 5-2 is good because 5-2 usually can help you make top 8. Mono Red Tron in this current meta? Never heard of it. Probably not doing, wouldn't do well. Merfolk is always the bridesmaid, but never the bride. Just saying. Who can relate? I use Parallels to run Magic the Gathering on my Mac. That's what I used to do as well. Good stuff. I could imagine a world where you just use tablets and plus consoles instead of an actual PC. Well, we're sort of moving that direction, but we're still like not even close to it because there's just so much that you can't do on a tablet, or it's like really clunky. I mean, one day probably the tablets will be your computer, and it'll be indistinguishable between tablet and an actual PC or a laptop, and then you can just connect your laptop to your monitor or whatever. That would be convenient too. Is Krenko plus Bombardment not fast enough these days? Just throw goblins at them until they're dead? I do not think so. Definitely not. Like, Krenko will die, and then you're gonna have to sack it to your Bombardment. What is the best and worst Merfolk ever printed? Probably the best is True Name Nemesis. The worst Merfolk ever printed? Silvergill Drowser. Or, sorry, Dowser. What is it called? Yeah, Silvergill Dowser. This might not actually be the worst Merfolk ever printed. Hell, it's 14 cents because it has such a lovely picture. But it's like 2 mana for a 1/1, and as this activated ability, tap target creature gets -X, -0 until end of turn, where X is the number of Merfolk and or fairies you control. So you can make other creatures, their power smaller. That is useless. But thanks for asking, 27 Noetic. What are essential hate cards for modern sideboards? Whenever I get this question, I just go to, like, modern sideboards. Let's take a look. What are people playing? I don't know if this is mandatory, but Torpor Orb is an option. Sanctifier on Vec, big card. I don't think Path of Exile, that's necessary. Thoughtseize pending the matchup. Maybe some Pithing Needles. This was not very representative. What does Death Shadow do? Engineered Explosives, big one. Alpine Moon a little bit. Dress Down, probably a big one for some decks. None of these are catching my eye for important sideboard cards. I wouldn't say Flusterstorm's the biggest one. Veil of Summer for sure. Aether Gust, yep. Lightning Helix is a weird one. Force of Vigor, big one. Big. Force of Vigor is huge. Blood Moon, I think, is a big one, but here, okay, the Blood Moon's in the main, in the sideboard for this one. Engineered Explosives, big one for those Crashing Footfall decks. Relic is a relatively big one. Mystical Dispute, big one for all the blue decks. Let's see what the Crashing Footfall deck does. Endurance, huge sideboard card. Again, Mystical Dispute, Force of Vigor, and Blood Moon. They got all the really heavy hitting ones. This deck's not screwing around. Lacansa knows what they want in their deck. They know. Anyway, I think that's a good long story short on it. Will there be an updated 2022 Merfolk Toolbox video? Maybe. I think it's probably easy enough that I make one. You know what? Remind me during a stream, and I would do it. Like, I would do it in between my stream, and then, like, I can stream it live and then post a video about it later. Why is Mox Amber $32? Because, the Mox man bought them all. It actually sees, like, barely, no play. Void Mirror versus Elemental. Oh, you mean, like, just versus... If you're a fast deck, it's probably playable. If you're a slow deck, it's probably not playable. Like, remember, you can still cast the Elementals. Like, for 5 mana. You can cast Solitude and Fury and Subtlety. So, like, Void Mirror is not the greatest card. So, if you know you can close out the game fast and you just need to prevent them from casting this stuff for free, it'll be playable. But if you're not a fast deck, then you're just... it's a lump of coal. What do you think about the Blue-White Hammer Time that won the Modern Challenge? I have no comment on it. I have not actually paid attention to the variant. Okay, hold on. Let's look for a... I'm more familiar with either Mono White or Mono Black. Sorry, not Mono Black. Orzhov. Did it win a Modern Challenge? I don't see it here as winning a Modern Challenge. Or was that very recent? I just have a... From what I see, there is a 5-0. What's the blue for? Just for mana leak? This is a very pointless splash. Anyway, if there is another list, we just have to wait and see what it is. Painter Servant too slow for Domain? Way too slow. Way too vulnerable. Like, that's the problem with cards like, you know, Painter Servant. It's like 2 mana, but wasting your turn 2 in Modern really sucks. You know, it's just like Goblin Bombardment. You're basically taking a turn to do nothing. Absolutely nothing. When are we going to see your top 5 budget decks, top 10 competitive deck videos again? I will make a top 10 competitive deck video. I'm not going to drop those. I don't know as much about the budget videos. Because the budget videos take a lot of time. And I know they're popular, but they take a lot of time, and I don't know if I get as much reward out of it anymore. Understand, I now spend a lot more time on, like, my main channel, going after millions of views a month now, instead of going after thousands of views a month with those sort of budget videos. But the top 10 competitive deck videos still do relatively well, that I want to keep those up. Sunday challenges of blue-white artifacts and less hammer time. Then we have to wait for the list. It's probably not out yet. It'll probably come out today. Kylie Wong, hey, what is your favorite, if any, professional athletics? NBA, UFC, track and field, curling? My favorite would be boxing, and I would just say that I'm not that big into watching sports. I prefer like I prefer watching like esports. But if there's any sport that I put any attention into, then it would be boxing. I do enjoy watching a good boxing match. I paid for the Mayweather-Pacquiao match when it happened. And I really enjoy that these big YouTubers are starting beefs with each other and they duel out in a boxing match. I do still watch a good chunk of, like, street beefs on YouTube. Let's go check out street beefs. Shout out to street beefs. I actually like watching amateurs fight. It's hilarious. So, like, I occasionally will, like, throw on one of these videos, like, while I'm eating supper or breakfast, and it's just basically super amateurs fighting each other, and they're terrible, and it really goes to show how exhausting this sport is. Like, they're only playing 3 rounds, and they're usually completely exhausted after 2. Street beefs. I'm not really, but to be very clear, I'm not really a fan of UFC. It's not as exciting to me. I prefer boxing more. Maybe other people are like, they're not a fan of boxing, they like UFC, but for me, UFC is like too much hugging and holding for my taste. Like, when they get really good, there's just a lot of grappling, and it's not interesting. You still think Mayweather sucks? Mayweather is like a 0-20 wall that has, at the end of turn, tap, deal 1 damage to target opponent. Can't deny, though, he's undefeated, the undefeated champion, the most lackluster. So if anyone doesn't know who Mayweather is, he's a completely undefeated boxing champion. But he talks a lot of shit, but he has the most absolute boring style to ever watch. So he talks a big game, but he's like untouchable, basically. He's got this ultra defensive style that no one cracked for his entire career. And he went up weight classes and it didn't matter. He never lost. So everyone was waiting for him to lose, but it just never happened. Still hasn't happened. He's technically retired, but... Where's the pro wrestling love? I was big into pro wrestling when I was very young, like 7, 8 years old. And then my favorite wrestlers was like... Kevin Nash? Is that his name? Razor Ramon and Diesel. Yeah, that's it, I think. But back when he was Diesel, how do I spell Diesel? There we go. And Razor Ramon. I think it was something Hall. I love these wrestlers. But anyway, they got bought out by, I think, WCW, and then it just killed the WWF for me, and I never watched since. I, like, really don't care anymore. I don't care in the slightest. Haven't gone back. R.I.P. Kimbo Is he dead? Nikachu versus Aspiring Spike. Who would win a boxing match? Well, I don't know how big he is. I think he's bigger than me, so he'd probably be the favorite. I don't know. I have no fight technique either. Did you ever watch Kimbo Slice's old fights? I did not. I have not seen any of them. I probably would have liked it at the time. Don't we love how this is no longer even a Coffee and MTG? It's more like it's coffee time with Nikachu. Yes, the WWF, not the WWE. There was a point where it did turn into the WWE. I don't know. I guess when Vince McMahon, like, I guess bought out the competition. Is there any competition these days? And he just had a monopoly. There was a time, I think, did the WWF not buy out the WCW at some point? I mean, I was loosely paying attention, and, you know, like my 11-year-old brain, or my 11-year-old self, it wasn't paying close attention to what was going on in the wrestling world. Kimbo's dead? Did he have his last slice? I mean, I'm familiar with the guy. He was like, whoa, he looks really strong. I mean, he's always, like, portrayed to me as, like, some random hobo, but actually he's built pretty well. Oh, he died not super recently, but recently enough. How did he die? Death. On June, whatever, Slice was admitted to a hospital near his home in Coral Springs, Florida. He died of heart failure. A short time later, an autopsy revealed a mass on his liver. Oh, he had a lot of health problems. We're all shocked and saddened by the devastating and untimely loss of Kimbo Slice, a loved member of the Blader family. Look at all those victories. 7 wins, 0 losses. Come on, he lost a lot, though. I swear this guy has lost a lot. But he was, like, just thrown into a lot of... Or maybe he's more undefeated than I think. Like I said, I don't follow UFC at all. I have no idea. There's some guy named Dana White who's in control of UFC. That's it. That's all I know. There's some guy from Ireland. I think he's from Ireland. He's a big UFC fighter. That's how little I know about UFC. Kimbo had the biggest arms and the smallest legs. He lost his debut match. Well, that sucks for him. WWF turned into WWE because they couldn't win. Oh, they couldn't win against World... Oh, really? That always confused me. Yeah, there was the World Wildlife Fund. And I saw those commercials as a kid all the time. They would advertise themselves as the WWF. That is so weird. So I guess they had the rights over WWF beforehand. But whatever, not a big deal. They turned into WWE. Kimbo died from years of massive drug and booze. I mean, watch his fights. That makes a lot of sense. The same thing with the wrestlers. Like, did anyone pay attention? Didn't anyone notice, like, most of the wrestlers are dying in their, like, late 40s, early 50s? They're all... My brother and I, we were going through them all, because we were both wrestling fans back in the day. My brother actually was more of a wrestling fan even later on. But they, like, we looked up all the wrestlers that were dying, and they're all dying really young. Like, this, the drugs and the steroids takes a big toll on your body. It must be really, really tough. Like, let's just look up someone like the Ultimate Warrior. This guy died super young. Or relatively young. How old was he? Aged 54. They're all between, like, 45 and 55, I swear. Then there's the Macho Man, Randy Savage. He died... How old? 58, still relatively young. Who else? Is Jake the Snake still alive? Jake the Snake. Jake Roberts. He's still alive. That's funny. I mean, this guy is in the worst shape of all of them. And he ain't dead yet. He's 66. He basically cheated death. Yeah, exactly, Alexis. Too fake to get respect, but too real to live past 60. But to be fair, I mean, it's mostly from, like, probably the drugs, the booze, and the steroids all combined at once. Andre the Giant. Bret Hart is still alive. I think it's Owen died of an accident, though. Well, today I learned all you guys are wrestling fans. Andre the Giant. He might have died of different reasons, though. Anyway, he died at 46. God, that is so young. Is Rowdy Piper still alive? Or Roddy Piper? I thought it was Rowdy. Oh, he died very recently. 61. Oh, Chris Benoit, is that the guy who went crazy? He, like, had, like, Alzheimer's at the age of, like, 40? Yeah, wow, he died really, really young. But he killed himself. He apparently had the brain of, like, a 90-year-old person. I remember when this happened. He just, like, his mind aged like crazy. Who's the dude who used to put his butt cheeks on faces? What, Yokozuna? Yokozuna also died. List of Yokozuna. No, I need Yokozuna the wrestler. Yokozuna wrestler. He died. Whoa! I've lived longer than Yokozuna. 34 is way too young. Rikishi as well. Again, we need oh, here we go. The wrestler. 56. No, this is crazy. This is just so crazy. They die so young. It's like no one makes it to 70. How old is Hulk Hogan now? And I'm certain he has also used steroids and stuff like that. He's 68. He's cheating death. He's one of the very few that's cheating death at this point. And he should, like, all these wrestlers should take a really good, hard look at their health every single day, because they could go at any moment. Undertaker. Wrestler. The Undertaker. Oh, he's pretty young. He's like a baby. He looks old. Well, 56 or whatever. You are actually old. A Gold Dust. I was never a Gold Dust fan. Is that guy still around? Gold Dust. Oh, is Ric Flair still around? I can't remember. Elephant, Gold Dust Disease. What was this guy? I don't know his real name. People, Gold Dust Trio. Gold Dust Wrestler. I can't find this guy. I don't know his real name. And apparently Gold Dust is too, Ric Flair. Okay, let's look up Ric Flair. I thought Ric Flair was the most pathetic, like, wrestler in the sense he looked completely weak and useless. Like, he had no gimmick except that he was arrogant. And I saw absolutely nothing in I saw absolutely nothing in this guy. He is 72 years old. He's the oldest. Woo! Yeah, exactly. Gold Dust. Gold Dust. I'm pretty sure one of the doinks is still alive. Dustin Rhodes. But did you die? No, he's still alive at 52. Okay, careful. Careful, Dustin. You have, like, on average, you have, like, 4 years more left to live. Ric Flair's actually a pretty terrible... So he's actually a heel in real life. Heel on stage, heel behind the scenes. Ric Flair daughter? He has a daughter? Is she hot? Did she become a professional wrestler? I guess it runs in the family. Well, okay, I don't know how many Magic players made it this far, but it's time for Decklist review. Or should we turn it into WWE review? Let me see your matches. I'll review your moves. Critique your finishing moves. The finishing move takes too long. Your opponent's going to get out of the way. They're going to give you the super suplex. I don't remember the moves. I can't remember a damn thing about wrestling. I saw like some clips of wrestling post-pandemic. It's really weird. Like with the whole audience gone. Like it's a completely different atmosphere. Feels like almost like one of those video games where there's like barely anyone in the crowd. Anyway, okay, so if you want your deck list reviewed, go in my description. There's a link to my Discord. Join the Discord. Then there's a channel called Decklist Review. Enter the command !review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list. Press enter, and you'll be eligible at random for a deck list review. Did you get a chance to watch an episode of Top Decking? I watched a little bit of another one. That's about it. You love that top decking. Wonder if this topic has something to do with D4 coming in soon. Today's topic just completely derailed. Thanks to, because we were just talking about Microsoft. We're talking about a non-Magic thing, and when we talk about non-Magic, then we seem to, like, really go off the rails into something else. But you people like it seems. Let me know in the comment section below if you like it when we completely go off the rails. Okay, let's go look at some deck lists. My random generator not working. Random. Error connecting to remote server. Well, that doesn't sound good. I've never received an error like that. Error connecting to remote server. Am I going to manually select these? Yeah, incoming jank. Okay, so my random generator is not going to work. So what I'm going to do is... Oh, we got one. Okay, Rockux, finally. Rockux, congratulations for the millionth time. You have been selected for Decklist Review. Yeah, error review, error incoming jank. And just a reminder, deckstats.net, the absolute worst site on the internet for viewing a deck list. The worst user interface I've ever seen on any other website. Everything kicks this thing's ass. Maybe they're good at stats, but they're bad at presentation. So what do we have? Rux Mardu Affinity. That's a lot of colors. But then again, you know, sometimes these affinity decks are 5 colors, so who cares? Power Depot. Enters the battlefield tapped. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts, but you got modular. A Rustveil Bridge. I think you already now have too many lands that come into play tapped. Not a fan of that. The Ozolith. Urza Saga. Dispatch. Galvanic Blast. Well, how are you going to win the game? Arcbound Ravager. Arcbound Shikari. So you're really trying to make the Shikari work. Disciple of Vault, Memnite, Ornithopter, Signal Pest, Sojourner's Companion. I don't think... Okay, so if you're going to play the Ozolith and play with these things like Arcbound Ravager and Arcbound Shikari, I think you should be a little bit more all-in on these cards. Like, you could be... Instead of Sojourner's Companion, instead of even Signal Pest, you should be playing with... Walking Ballista, Hangerback Walker, cards that have to do with counters. So there's 2 different types of affinity decks. There's the ones where you just blurt your hand on the battlefield and try to kill your opponent as quickly as possible. For that, you want your Memnites, you want your Ornithopter, Signal Pest, Sojourner's Companion. If you want to go the counters route, you should be playing like Arcbound Worker, Walking Ballista, Hangerback Walker, in addition to these other cards, and even in addition to Disciple of the Vault if you want to. But you now have like a little bit of half of one version of Affinity, half of the other one. I don't think they mix very well. I don't think they mix well at all. What does Shikiri do? When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each other artifact you control. Not bad. And modular too. This creature enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters. When it dies, you may put this +1/+1 counter on target You may put its +1/+1 counters on target artifact creature. And of course, this would work really well, I think better with hardened scales. I mean, I guess you don't need to. It's like a weird mix of things, and I'm not sold on this card, Disciple of the Vault. I know it's a janky way to win, but I think it'd just be better off if you just had a random artifact creature here, like Arcbound Worker, for example, to help synergize with the rest of this deck. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may have a target opponent lose 1 life. How many sacrifice outlets do you have? 1? That's it. You just have 1. And you probably only need 1 Ozolith, given that you have Urza Saga. Because, like, what else can you get with Urza Saga? Anything? Oh, you can get Signal Pest, I guess. Hardened Affinity. Well, I think one of these should go over a hardened scales. Like, we have too much interaction. We don't have enough creatures. I don't want to go down any more creatures, but I would replace Disciple of the Vault. Like, it all comes... What do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do? Like, I see you want to, like, put a bunch of stuff on the battlefield and then sack it all. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may have target opponent lose 1 life. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you have target opponent lose 1 life. I don't love this card. What does Treasure Vault do? Sacrifice Treasure Vault. I mean, this has some synergy. You make treasures, sack them, you get the synergy off of Disciple of the Vault. This card looks good in Pauper. Oh, okay, whatever. Let's say we make... What is the best way we can make this deck? Is there another artifact that we have that can be a sack outlet? Need Goblin Bombardment? That might help. That actually is an idea. Like, maybe instead of 2 Galvanic Blast, 2 Goblin Bombardment. Hard to believe Disciple of the Vault was... No, this card was never banned as far as I'm concerned. Not in Modern. I don't know if this card was ever banned. I don't think this card was ever banned in Modern. Maybe in Pauper it got banned. Well, I don't think we can afford to play Emery in this. Do you even have a sane mana base? And 1 mana of any color, spend this mana. Yeah, the mana is a bit sketch, but it's probably maybe okay. So you have 12, and this can make treasure tokens. Your mana is a bit sketch. And, like, this doesn't even add black mana, so you're, like, it's really hard to cast your Disciple of the Vault. It's really hard to cast this card. Yeah, probably we need Glimmer Void over something like Darksteel Citadel. Glimmer Void is probably better. Like, you just don't have enough mana sources. I would say you should reimagine your deck to be more of either a Hardened Scales Ozolith deck or like a super fast, like going all out, kill my opponent affinity deck. And you could go, like, you would have to dump probably Arcbound Shikiri, or maybe not. Maybe not. You could. It's hard that you want to go Mardu. Like, this is a lot of colors. Well, that's the thing. You could go Volt Scourge if you want to be the fast affinity deck. You remove, like, I don't know. You can never remove Arcbound Ravager. It's too good. It's too important. Altar of Dementia as a creature sack outlet? What is this? Altar of Dementia. Target player puts a number of cards. No, if we're playing this, we might as well play Goblin Bombardment. I don't think that has enough synergy. Like, this combo is a bit jank because you can't force your artifacts to die, except unless you have Arcbound Ravager out. What do they do in Pauper? Because I'm pretty sure in Pauper, Disciple of the Vault is legal, or is it banned? I would just play Shikiri, Worker, and Scales. I would too. I mean, hopefully you're not married to this Disciple of the Vault. I think this deck would just be a lot better if you just remove it and you just play like a regular affinity deck. Maybe in place of this, you play Arcbound Worker or something, and then some of these might get replaced by what's it called? Oh, they have a Tog and Pauper, so yeah, so they have 2 sack outlets to sack everything. Hey Nikachu, when do you stream on Twitch? You can see my stream schedule in the description below. But I stream once every 2 weeks on Saturday. We just had a Saturday, so you got to wait 2 Saturdays from now. So not this Saturday, but the Saturday after that, I'll be streaming gameplay on Twitch. Yeah, need hanger back. I would take out Disciple. I'd take out Disciple and either go white-red or add green for Hardened Scales, which would be really good in this deck. I mean, green for Hardened Scales would be really good. And then you replace Memnite and Ornithopter with Arcbound Worker and Hangerback Walker. Is budget a deal? How expensive is this deck? It's not the cheapest deck. So, I mean, I would replace things like maybe Sojourner's Companion. I don't know about Signal Pest or Memnite, but, like, replace them with things like Hangerback Walker, with Walking Ballista, and I think you'd have a pretty good deck. And, well, don't replace Disciple of the Vault with Hardened Scales. You have to replace it with, like, another creature, but then replace either Dispatch or Galvanic Blast with Hardened Scales. And you can have... And Naya Hardened Scales? Man, it would be a little jank, but I think I could see it working. Disciple. Non-budget. Oh, yes, this is you, Spencer. Keep forgetting. Not married to anything but Shakira and Ravager. Yeah, you can have those two. But, like, the best place for them would probably be some sort of Hardened Scales deck. So try that out. Try to build it more Hardened Scales. Like, look at the Hardened Scales cards. Make some sacrifices to squeeze in your Arcbound Shikari. But make sure you have, like, the mana is good enough that you're going to actually cast this stuff. Anyway, that's my suggestion. Good luck with the deck list. Snarf. Congratulations, you're the next contestant. And we got Quandrix Merfolk. It's just a fancy way of saying Simic. Quandrix! When the cards load. If they load. There we go. Mishra's Bauble. Why? Okay, Utopia Sprawl. Some Lord of Atlantis' Silvergill Adept. Manamorphose. Oh, we're putting Thrasta in here? This is beyond ridiculous. Master of the Pearl Trident. Sveiloon. Mararegery. Okay. Spell costs 3 less to cast. For each other spell cast this turn. Trample. Trample over Planeswalkers, and Haste. No. No, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. Not a chance in hell. So, like, even if you play, like, 2 Baubles in a turn, or, like, a Manamorphose and a Bauble, you just made this, like, 6 cheaper. It's going to be still so hard. Spell costs 3 less to cast for each other spell you cast this turn. I'm just gonna say no. Oh, look at that sweet snow-covered island. Is this real? Wizards of the Coast had a secret lair of 8-bit style. 20 lands. Turn 3 Sveiloon, untap Utopia Sprawl with Regery, play Mishra's Bauble, play Manamorphose or any 2-drop, then jam Thrasta and swing. This is not gonna work. This is too ambitious. I mean, okay, if you plan on putting Thrasta in play by turn 4... yeah, it would work, but is it good enough by turn 4? Like, it will work. It's my fear is that Thrasta is not good enough by turn 4. But maybe it is. It gets out of range of Unholy Heat. It could work. Or it could not. What's the most functional meme deck in Modern? Probably the Creativity deck. Really painful mana base? Yeah, this mana base is a bit... well, actually, it's less painful than it looks like. Because you'll fetch out Breeding Pools tapped or fetch out basic islands if you need to. But, I mean, pain is just the name of the game. Alright, if you want to put Thrasta in play by turn 4, this will work. But I fear that these Mishra's Baubles and these Manamorphoses don't do very much if you draw them early game and you have no Thrasta. It could work, our famous last words. Anyway, maybe we ask tomorrow what's the most functional meme deck, and you guys let me know what you think. All right, well, that's it for Decklist review. I will say the Thrasta idea is not great. It's not sound, but it will barely and maybe sometimes work. I will say this much. Against a control deck, you might get your Vial to 12 once, and then Vial in a Thrasta Tempest Roar, and your opponent will not see that coming whatsoever. So anyway, that's going to be it for Coffee and MTG today. As usual, you can find us Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time if you want to be part of the conversation. And if you love Coffee and MTG, you want to support the channel, hey, drop a sub at twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. You can become a patron at patreon.com/NikachuMTG, or hit the join button right there on YouTube. So thank you very much for joining me today, making me a part of your daily routine. So keep brewing up that coffee, and we will keep brewing up the magic. And in some cases, wrestling. Take care. See you.